Well, good morning and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder, and this is BRN AM for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. And our top stories today: can a nursing home take stimulus money? And Social Security recipients may be in for quite a shock. Well, joining me now is Alessandra Melito. She is the retirement reporter for Dow Jones Market Watch. Allie, welcome back to the program.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. And how are you doing? How's the family doing? And how are your coworkers doing?
Pretty good. My coworkers and I are just waiting for, the day when we're told we're allowed back into the office. But, the coworkers that are family members are doing pretty good. So
Good. Well, that's good. I'm really happy to hear that. And I know you all have the ability to work virtually. That's amazing, all things considered. So let's jump right in. You live in the greater New York area, as do I. This is the most highly impacted area of the country. One area that is significantly impacted, though, is nursing homes. And I know you recently wrote a story about nursing homes and stimulus checks. Can you take us through that?
yeah, so nursing homes house some of the most vulnerable members of society. They are home to the elderly as well as the immunocompromised, and they have just been hit really hard by the coronavirus crisis, because they are so at danger of, complications or worse. So they already have that going for them, and the staff is super overwhelmed, and it's a stressful situation. But recently, the Federal Trade Commission came out with a report that said that some nursing homes and assisted living facilities are trying to take the stimulus checks from beneficiaries if they're on Medicaid, claiming situations around income and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is they don't have the right to take that money. And so the report was just basically issuing a warning, like if you or a loved one have not gotten your stimulus check and it has something to do with the nursing homes and assisted living facilities that your loved ones or you live in, then you should file a complaint and talk to your state attorney general and just get it sorted out, because they don't actually have the ability to take that money. The stimulus checks are considered tax credits, so that's not. It's not money, but it's
Right.
just, obviously it is money, but as far as the government is concerned, it is not anything that they can touch. So that's why it's not considered income as far as, your Medicaid eligibility requirements go. So that's why these centers can't actually claim them as their own.
Yeah, I would say very disconcerting. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything imprudent. And you made a very clear distinction. These are tax credits. These are credits towards, I think, future taxes, right? Next year's tax return. So not considered income in the sense that you can garnish that income towards payment for use of a facility, right? So is this people just misunderstanding? Maybe their accountants are not aware or not advising them appropriately in terms of the organizations?
The warning didn't say why these centers were doing that, but there are a few things. I would like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, especially in a crisis like this. So it could just be a misunderstanding. If you think about it, these facilities are super overwhelmed right now. They're worrying about getting enough protective gear and getting enough, masks for their residents, and how to communicate with loved ones who are worried about their, the security of their loved ones. There's a lot going on. They're also trying to take care of their staff to make sure that their staff doesn't get sick, because if they get sick and there's an outbreak, it could get really bad really quickly. So there's a very good chance that's a misunderstanding. A lot of people have questions about the stimulus checks. There's a lot of unknown. Even though the IRS has a FAQ section on its website regarding stimulus checks in particular, this is all very new territory for basically the whole country.
Yeah.
And there's a very good chance that they just haven't sorted it out yet. But the FTC just wanted to make sure people knew that if you haven't gotten your check, at least for this particular reason, that they don't, they warn you to take care of it quickly so that you get the money that you are owed.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think family members who are, their sons and daughters and cousins of people that are in these assisted living facilities need to be made aware of this so that they can be almost like the guardians, if you will, of these individuals. Allie, I've been reading a lot about, and I'm not putting this in the same category, but I just want to talk about, because you do a lot of writing on long-term care and assisted living. I've been reading a lot during this COVID-19 time of a lot of scams. A lot of scams focus on towards the elderly in terms of getting some of that stimulus money and taking it away from people, filing things erroneously. This has me, and I would assume you and others, greatly concerned as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the stimulus checks are wonderful, but also the execution of them has been slightly chaotic. I get emails all the time from people who are saying that they haven't received it yet and asking when they're going to receive it and how they're going to receive it. And the truth of the matter is, not everybody knows. The IRS is sending out these checks over the course of weeks. Yeah. I think it was like 20 weeks as of like April. And there is a very good chance that there would be some scams. I mean, this is prime territory for somebody, basically free money is being sent out to a bunch of Americans. So people have to be careful. They should try to use the IRS tool. I think it's like get my check or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the exact.
I think it's get my stimulus payment or something like that. .org or
.gov. Get my payment. Yeah. So if you check that, you're supposed to be able to see like where exactly it is if you haven't gotten it yet or how it's going to be sent to you. That doesn't always work, and if that's the case, it doesn't actually mean that you're not getting the check or that somebody stole your check. It just means that the information that you inputted isn't exactly what the system agrees it should be, and it could be as silly as like a dash in between the number in your address or something like that. So you should try that, but also make sure all of your information is up to date. If you do direct deposit with Social Security Administration or with the IRS for tax purposes, make sure all of your address, your bank information, all of that is accurate, and just be on the lookout. Be cautious of getting the mail, checking the mail on time. People are getting the checks via mail even if they have direct deposit. So just, try to stay on top of it, but don't panic yet because there are plenty of people who still haven't gotten their checks.
Yeah, absolutely. And for more information, people can certainly go to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission website. I'm assuming they can also go to their state attorney general website because they would have the jurisdiction, I would assume, under any type of legal complaint. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm assuming that would be. But always make sure, Allie, that you're looking at reputable sites, because I hear a lot of people getting phishing emails, malware, things from that look legitimate that really are not. And you want to be very, very careful about where you're putting your information, because you do not want to put your direct deposit information in some site that looks legit but is really nefarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Allie, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk to Allie about Social Security cost of living adjustments. There's a lot going on there, or is there? So stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
The windows on our homes, they protect us and the ones we love, but they do much more. At Renewal by Andersen, making your home more comfortable is at the center of every window we make. It's why we custom build our windows in America and install them in as little as 1 day. It's why we build our frames with exclusive Fibrex composite material that's 2 times stronger than vinyl. It's why our glass helps keep your home warmer in winter, cooler in summer, and quieter all year long. It's why we stand behind every window with a 20-year limited warranty. Why not help lower your energy costs while giving your home and family the best? Call 1-800-835-6525 to schedule a free in-home consultation. Buy one, get one at 40% off with this special offer. Plus, get special financing with no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 1 full year. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Call 1-800-835-6525 now.
Welcome back. We are talking to Alessandra Melito. She's the retirement reporter for Dow Jones Market Watch. Allie, thanks so much for sticking around with us this morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Great to have you. Really interesting story about keeping abreast of your stimulus checks. Really important for those elderly and people in assisted living homes. Now I want to talk about something that's really important, additionally important, and that is Social Security and the cost of living adjustment. And many Americans, especially older Americans, people in retirement, are dependent upon Social Security, and they're dependent upon Social Security getting a cost of living adjustment that at least exceeds that of inflation, which is typically around 3%. What can you tell us about your fact-finding about cost of living adjustments for this year and next year?
Yeah, so the adjustment is normally announced towards the end of the year, but there are analysts who track inflation and other factors every month to kind of estimate where we'll be later on this year for the following year. So I spoke to that analyst that I've been speaking to for a few years, and she's always like spot on. And she said that it's not going to be good next year. So as it stands, we're looking at a zero, like no COLA whatsoever. So it has been pretty low lately in the last few years, but it's never been zero. And it's supposed to be zero next year if we keep going on the way that we're going on. And she said that there are still like 5 months to go until the COLA is officially announced, but right now it's not looking too good. And there are a few reasons. One is the plunging oil prices. Another is the state of affairs that we're currently in with the health and economic crisis because of the coronavirus. But it's stressful if you are a Social Security beneficiary and you do rely on that money because it takes away your purchasing power if you have no COLA, because COLA is basically just trying to keep you on track with with spending and make sure that your benefit doesn't actually lose money every year.
Yeah.
The other problem is, which doesn't make it any better, is the fact that COLA is attached to the Consumer Price Index, which is based on, the original CPI, I guess, which is attached to urban workers and their cost of living and what they spend on. It's not linked. This Social Security COLA is not linked to spending patterns of the elderly, which is a different thread of CPI. So it already doesn't really match up with how beneficiaries use their benefits, because the elderly, they typically spend more on housing and healthcare, and urban workers don't like that. They have transportation costs and clothing costs. Ugh, I can't speak. Clothing costs because of work and things like that. So it already isn't matched up, and if you see a zero change like that, that could be detrimental.
So, and also, I don't want to see if this has an impact. We have 36 million thereabouts unemployed, and so that means that there's no Social Security wage tax because those people are not earning compensation. There's no deduction for Social Security from the employer and employee, which is really the same, in my opinion. Just economically, it's the same. And so I would think that that would have an impact on being able to fund the trust, so to be able to make payments, existing payments, and also to adjust that COLA. When you don't have those contributions, really hard, or that tax, it's really hard to pay out any type of COLA in addition to all the other things you mentioned.
Yeah, so the trustees report came out last month, I think. Time is meaningless these days.
It is meaningless.
I think it was last month. It's been a long couple months, but it came out last month, and it said that as of right now, the trust funds are doing the same, pretty much, more or less. But that did not account for the current crisis that we're in. And if that is the case, then the trust funds might lose another year or two on their trajectory towards depletion, which is not a good thing. If that were to happen, people would still get benefits, but it would be like 80% or 79% of what they're owed. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot of unknowns. Social Security benefit and the trust funds are linked to a few factors, and that's how they go up and down. One is unemployment, yep, which is obviously suffering quite a bit lately. Another is fertility and mortality. Usually, people were making jokes at the beginning of this quarantine that there were going to be more babies in like 9 months, but it's typically the opposite when an economic crisis occurs, and that could be because of people are afraid of the financial costs of having a baby. They are expensive, and if you're losing your jobs or you have to downsize in a home, you have to take that into consideration when starting a family or extending your family. But also with this health crisis, people may not be able to get together the way that they used to. So you have that. Then there's mortality. A lot of people have died as a result of COVID, right, more than usual, I would say, yeah, and especially unexpectedly, because this virus came out of nowhere as far as I think the country was concerned. And there are a few other factors, but overall, the programs, they don't know, honestly, where they'll stand next year. But it's not like it'll, you won't get your benefit or anything because of this. It's just people are, we're still trying to figure everything out.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of concern. I would be concerned if I wasn't getting a cost of living adjustment. I'd be concerned about how I'm going to pay for goods and services. And obviously there's concern long-term about the solvency of Social Security. And I think, Allie, all this kind of ties together. If we have to put it into a neat bow, or an unneat bow, there has to be concern from policymakers and people within and outside the industry about financial savings and the ability to actually retire on time. Forget just Social Security, but this has had a dreaded impact on people's finances. I mean, just 36 million unemployed. And I think that is, that ability to generate retirement income, where it's going to come from, whether it's going to be annuities, whether it's going to be from Social Security, whether it's going to be from your retirement plan, whether it's going to be a reverse mortgage. These are things that I think in totality need to be thought through.
Yeah, I could talk about that for much more than 10 minutes. Yeah. So I will refrain. But yes, this crisis has the potential to upend Social Security if, we continue with this unemployment and, just utter chaos. And also, there are legislation proposals and current rules now that allow people to take money out of 401ks and other accounts faster. or easier. That's not always a good thing. It's nice to have that option because, then you won't get penalties, but it shouldn't be a first priority when it comes to, trying to make ends meet. It's just this current crisis has the potential to really worsen the current retirement crisis that we were already facing.
Yep.
So hopefully this ends quickly. People are able to get better and healthier and stay safe, and we are able to sort of rebuild.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to have to be the case. Allie, always a pleasure chatting with you. Really enjoy your take on all these important issues. Keep up the great work, and we look forward to having you back on the program very soon.
Great, thank you.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest or someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the news in retirement, markets, technology, personal finance, and more, check out today's edition of The Morning Pulse. So until tomorrow, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Waiting here for you to take and drink of. But if you're tired of the same old stuff.
Attention! The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has officially authorized new benefits that Medicare Advantage plans may include. To get the benefits you deserve, you can call the Medicare Coverage Helpline.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. If you're on Medicare, this is important information. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline and they instantly looked up my coverage. In this one simple call, they offered to enroll me in a plan that includes rides to medical appointments, private home aides, doctors and nurses' visits by telephone, and even home-delivered meals. The plan also includes dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage, all at no additional cost.
Don't delay. Call to see if the new benefits are available in your area.
Call the number on your screen now. It's free.
Call 1-800-757-1451. That's 1-800-757-1451.